Hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here. One of the types of addictions or habits that I've worked probably with more recently than any other addiction, probably close to alcohol, is cocaine. And the reason is that it's a very addictive drug and it's actually quite accessible in lots of different parts of the world. And the reason why it's so popular is that it gives a particular feeling and a predictability of feeling very quickly, and therefore it can feel like a tap that you can kind of turn on certain kind of sensations and feelings with a level of high predictability, and that's what makes it desirable. Unfortunately, it does have consequences. A lot of people feel that they're taking future energy and condensing it into the moment, and it's almost a psychological payday loan. They're paying high amounts of interest on that extra resource that they have in that moment. Now, the particular client I'm working with here in this session didn't want to not have cocaine anymore. They just wanted to reduce it to very specific circumstances. And the goal of this is to create walls or rules that are there to give them some structure. And those are things like they never buy it, they never own it, they never hold it, they can't keep possession of it, and they can never do it alone. And by doing those things, they're predicting, and when they think about all the times they've used in the past, they predicted it would reduce their consumption by about 98%. So they probably only use it once or twice a year, if that, under these new rules. And it helps them to think about what can they do, because their risky time, what they considered would be a vulnerable time, would be if they're in the house on their own, because in the past that would be a trigger for them to think, oh, okay, I've got no work tomorrow, I can kind of use in this particular way. And this is designed to circumnavigate that and preempt that by saying, okay, the intention is this is an opportunity to break the habit, establish these new rules, and having things that they can actually have lined up, like a game of golf, for example, the following morning, reduces the probability because now there is a consequence to their actions. Now, it was created for an individual, therefore some of the suggestions are perfect for this client and might not be quite right for you. But if you like the idea of reducing something, and it might be cocaine, or it might be cigarettes, or it might be alcohol, or it might be the amount of time you spend gambling, the essence is by having boundaries and parameters, you can reduce the vast majority of that consumption without it going entirely. And if you do like the idea of a bespoke session just for you, I'd encourage you to check out the show notes where I've got various resources, but a couple of resources is a suitability test that takes 60 seconds. You'll find out if hypnosis is suitable for you, and a webinar that I've created that helps to answer a lot of the questions that people tend to ask before they work with me. So check them out. They're in the description of this episode. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be distracted or disturbed. Relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close. And as they close, feel a ripple of relaxation from your eyelids going down, your cheeks into your jaw, allowing your body to exhale tension, stress, worries, perhaps even emotional baggage you've been holding on to. breathing in relaxation and exhaling tension. And just do a quick scan of your body, the tiny muscles in your forehead, around your jaw, neck or shoulders, and give yourself permission to feel whatever you feel. You've gone through a lot. Demands, news and information, worries, concerns, things within your control, things outside of your control. But right here, right now, those are simply echoes. Those sensations, emotions aren't needed. So when you breathe in slightly deeper than you normally would. And as you exhale, consider it a release valve, letting go of any intense emotions. That's it. And just feel what it would feel like for it to be released, allowing the outward breath to be maybe twice as long as an inward breath. Breathing in deeper, enabling you to exhale for longer. Each breath acts as a way to breathe in useful resources and release anything unresourceful. That's it. And the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you feel. And the more relaxed you feel, the deeper you breathe. Each breath has the ability to take you deeper and deeper relaxed. And I want you to think that progress has already been made. The fact that you're here right now means that something powerful within wants a future different from the past, to take your life on a different trajectory. Already, your mind is recalibrating, adjusting, laying the foundations of what is to come. And perhaps you can imagine the ocean of clear water, or a lake that's deep. And just imagine what you can feel by imagining descending under the water. But since this is your imagination, there's no need to hold your breath here. Imagine what you would feel like to feel the tranquility and calmness of being underwater, and the ability to continue breathing deep, relaxing breaths. Allow your imagination to imagine what it would feel like if you could breathe underwater. That heart rate getting lower, that feeling of calm tranquility, your body making the most of every element of oxygen in every cell. That's it. Allow the body to begin its preparation. The jaw releasing, the shoulders dropping, the breath finding its own unhurried rhythm. The surface world becoming less relevant with every exhale. And I want you to imagine swimming deep, deep down as I count from 10 to 1. And the deeper you go in your imagination, the deeper into a trance it naturally and effortlessly becomes. 10, deeper now. 9, beginning the descent. Breathing in, breathing out. 8, as you allow the quality of attention to turn inwards and downward. 7 and 6, the mental noise receding as depth increases. You've had that experience where you knew there was a world above the surface of the water. It just didn't exist in that moment as 5 becomes 4. The body naturally adjusting to that feeling of almost weightlessness. Still held completely at ease. 3 and 2, deeper still now, and 1. And what if here at depth, it's where the important work happens, where the parts of you that don't respond to surface reasoning are fully present as we begin. I want you to get a sense that in your professional life you understand something that many people don't understand. That in many ways the most powerful protections are not the ones you have to think about every time. They're the ones built into structure. Certain rules, certain procedures that mean you don't have to negotiate or make a judgment call. The actual very structure of the decision means the wrong decision is unavailable rather than simply inadvisable. And what if the boundary we are installing today operates the same way? It's not a resolution, not a willpower commitment, and not a target you need to aim for each time. What if it becomes an internal, non-negotiable, structural rule that converts that cocaine question from how much and when into a question that almost never needs to be asked? Because the very conditions that trigger it have been made unavailable. The boundary has 4 walls, and your unconscious can feel each one settling into place as I name it. Wall 1. You never use cocaine alone. What if this wall removes the highest risk situation entirely? The home alone evening, the private hours, the moment where there is no external structure and the internal negotiator begins its work. When cocaine is solitary, it carries every risk and none of the social context that created any genuine appeal back when you very first experienced it. It is only compulsion talking, and this wall, where you never use cocaine alone, does not negotiate with compulsion. It is an irrefutable, immovable standard. And maybe you can see this wall at the bottom of the ocean or the bottom of a lake. Wall 2, connected to wall 1, You never buy cocaine. This wall removes agency from the transaction. When you buy, you are the initiating force. You are making a deliberate, planned decision in a clear-headed state that your future self will be governed by. Removing buying removes the deliberate pathway. It cannot arrive unless someone else brings it. So imagine now 2 walls there at the bottom of that water. Then let's look at wall 3. You never own cocaine. This wall removes the stored risk. Ownership means availability. Availability at 2 a.m. when that internal negotiator is active and the structure is thin. A substance you don't own cannot be accessed alone at home because you would have to buy it to have it, and you don't buy it. These boundaries build on boundaries. Wall 4. You never hold cocaine. And this wall removes even the momentary physical relationship. Holding creates a different neurological event than proximity. The tactile reality of possession activates the using circuitry in a way that it's on the table does not. This wall keeps the substance at arm's length, even in social contexts where it's present. 4 walls. And what they create is not a cage. They create a structure which the real you, the capable, competent, confident you, can function without that cognitive load of having to make a decision repeatedly, without figuring out, is it okay, what happens next? The decision has already been made. The structure holds it. I will say these 4 walls in the first person and allow your inner dialogue to repeat them in your voice, in your tonality, like they're planting seeds. Each seed, each wall creates a solid structure that enhances your future and protects you. I don't use alone. I don't buy. I don't own. I don't hold. And I want you to interpret these not as resolutions, not even as rules. No need to renew them each day. Consider these facts about who you are. And I want you to see there at the bottom of that ocean or lake, the walls shift and morph until they become walls of your own home. And your unconscious knows the specific texture of the vulnerable evening, perhaps better than any other single situation. the particular combination of conditions that has historically opened the door. Home, alone, no work commitment tomorrow, privacy, confidentiality, and somewhere in the background, the awareness that a contact exists, that a decision could be made, and that no one is watching. This combination is not random. It is the precise intersection of opportunity, privacy, and the absence of natural consequence structure. And your unconscious has mapped it clearly, which means your unconscious can also redesign it. Because here is what changes with the boundary in place. The question is no longer, will I use tonight? The question becomes, what am I doing with this evening? And what am I doing tomorrow morning that matters? I want you to imagine, perhaps in your diary, your calendar, or just in your mind, a time when you know in advance you're going to have the home to yourself. No one else there. And I want you to imagine setting an intention of what to do that evening and what to do the morning after. Maybe it's free diving in a nearby lake there in the morning. Maybe it's golf with someone that used to use and doesn't anymore. They will know the exact clues that would give away if you've used or not. I want you to think about what you could use that time that's available for, that requires focus, energy, attention. Maybe it's a woodworking project. Maybe it's planning or preparing something. Maybe it's making something like a watch strap. I want you to think that if you know a few days in advance that you will have that time, imagine setting the attention ahead of time so you know that you already have something to do. You have something to do in the evening and you have something to do the following morning. And your unconscious can begin to feel what happens when the evening is structured differently. The particular quality of an evening spent in the workshop, a piece coming together, the satisfaction of skill applied and the completeness of a thing made. Your dopamine comes from accomplishing something. And you can play different scenarios in your mind that would feel challenging, rewarding, the kind of thing that you wouldn't regret the day after, you would feel proud of. These evenings are not sacrifices or consolation prizes, and they're certainly not substitutes for something more exciting. They are, in their own right, genuinely better evenings because they lead somewhere. They set a precedent. They break old neural pathways and form new ones. And they leave something behind. Because the very next day, when you wake up with more confidence, self-trust, and self-belief that you are becoming the person you want to be and are capable of becoming. And when you find yourself home alone with no morning commitment, your first move, the power move, is to create one. You create the commitment, even if it's a commitment with yourself. You protect the evening by giving tomorrow a reason to be clear. Let's explore two futures now, because your unconscious has a remarkable capacity that is rarely used deliberately. The ability to travel along a timeline that has not yet happened. Humans do this all the time. Anxiety and excitement are when people imagine a future and the body acts as if it's real. So let's experience the future with sufficient vividness and realism that the body responds as if it were real. And for the purpose of what the nervous system learns, it effectively is real. So let's explore two timelines today. Not as a thought experiment or an intellectual exercise, but as a felt journey. Your unconscious will show you both, and your body will know the difference between them in a way that will be available when choices arrive. So let's explore timeline 1, where you create a boundary and then violate it. Certain agreements you make with yourself and then you break them. And I want you to allow this timeline to unfold honestly, because the honest version is already significant. I want you to think that over the next 6 months, you had the intention of only ever using with friends, never buying, never owning, but you violated it. And maybe the once every 2 weeks or perhaps even more frequently has crept back. The reduced number felt like progress, but without the boundary structure. Those high-risk evenings began to accumulate again. Maybe it started with positive intentions, scheduling a game of golf on a Saturday morning, and then coming up with a plausible, credible excuse and just not showing. Setting the intention to go freediving and then sleeping through it. And I want you to imagine seeing yourself like you're someone else. Boundaries created, boundaries violated. And maybe you see that you're still getting away with it. And maybe after a year, imagine an incident, perhaps linked to embarrassment, shame. Maybe it damages your reputation, your credibility. Maybe it dilutes goodwill. Maybe it's a miscommitment that matters. A relationship you value being tarnished. A moment where someone looked at you with an expression you recognized and you didn't want to see that. Embarrassment, disappointment, annoyance. The close calls have had a companion or two. Imagine the face of someone that you love the most and loves you. Imagine a conversation happening that feels brutal, scary, daunting. Maybe there's no ultimatums yet, or maybe there is. But I want you to feel that sometimes things can change and never quite get back to where they were before. I want you to imagine the faces of your children where they discover something only because you violated your own boundary. The perception they have of you in this timeline has changed. Perhaps less pride and more of something else. Less respect and more of something else. I want you to feel where in your body you would feel that. The feeling like you've let someone down. You've let yourself down. I want you to see in this timeline progress that could have been made in freediving or hobbies, career, hasn't quite met the potential it was capable of. Maybe a legacy that you were building is being sabotaged in this timeline. Because you're violating your own boundary. And maybe in this future, it's filled with hairline fractures. Or maybe your intuition shows you something broken that can never be fixed. Health, relationship, career. Whatever your unconscious reveals to you is because your unconscious believes that is possible in a future where you violate those four walls. I want you to step into that future version of you and feel how you would feel. To feel a sense of regret, disappointment, frustration. And perhaps wait for a thought of, if only I could go back and change it. If that thought appears, let me know by nodding your head. So let's go back and try that different timeline. I want you to see how things are different in the version of you that creates the boundary, maintains the boundary, respects the boundary. Imagine observing that first evening alone, and you do set an intention to use that time. Observe yourself doing it, making something, accomplishing something. See yourself sleeping well, a look of pride on your face. And then see that version of you that wakes up the next morning, and maybe you do go freediving or do play that golf. But there is a different posture, a different facial expression. I want you to have maybe a sense of respect, pride, or admiration for that version of you that is doing something that isn't easy, but is valuable. See how weeks turn into months. Maybe you've seen 6, 7, or 8 months where the boundary has held through. Those high-risk evenings, normally, in the past, they could have led to solitary use, but in this timeline, they don't. And not through white-knuckled willpower and struggle, but a version of you that each time you respected and enforced the boundary, it got easier and easier. Neural pathways became more dominant, became the default. And in this timeline, see what you were able to accomplish in your career. What you're able to do with your free time. Progress made in different hobbies and pursuits. See a version of you that seems to be living with a new lease of life. Spring in your step. More self-trust, more self-confidence. Liberated from any feelings of what if. And see that feeling has been accumulating. A felt sense of yourself as someone who keeps your own commitments. No one's forcing you to do this. You're choosing to do it. That's why you get the emotional payoff. And that quality that's invisible to others changes how you move through the world in ways you can't quite articulate, but you can feel. See incrementally how life gets better. And maybe there is once or twice a year that you do use, but you use while respecting those 4 walls, those boundaries. It's not yours. It's definitely social. You never bought it. You never held it. And I want you to get a sense that your usage has reduced 95% or more. All of those high-risk behaviors disappeared to almost nothing. And because you do it only in very specific circumstances, the risk of any reputation damage is negligible. I want you to see an enhanced relationship with your partner, an enhanced relationship with your children. Because when people act in accordance with their values, integrity, confidence, self-trust all amplify. And I want you to imagine 5 years now and compare each timeline side by side. The version of you that violated this boundary and the version of you that respected this boundary. It might be night and day, chalk and cheese. But if your unconscious knows which you would prefer and is happy to update all internal resources to align with the future you desire most, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. Minor setbacks. Are just minor setbacks. But if the boundary is violated consistently, the walls come crumbling down. And I want you to see the future where the walls remain solid. An enhanced future. More pride, more success, more accomplishments. Thriving in these creative areas, these physical endeavors. A whole new level of life is unlocked. Consider this planting a seed of an idea, and you can water that seed, or you can ignore that seed and let it die in the ground. Your future is directly proportionate to how you nurture your intention. It's time to leave this place, but you leave with a sense of clarity, perhaps a desire to do something symbolic that solidifies these new boundaries. So imagine leaving those four walls at the bottom of the ocean or the lake, floating up to the surface. And as you float up to the surface, take all of the changes with you. New sense of clarity, boundaries, with absolute knowledge that if these walls do come crumbling down, your hand may be forced to completely eliminate something that may still be possible if the walls remain standing. As you float back to the surface, then imagine floating back from the surface to your physical body right now. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.